Welcome to today's video. We will explore a young country in South Asia, Bangladesh. There is a billion-dollar industry, but there are still some disturbing customs, such as mothers and daughters having to share a husband. Although it has a relatively small area of 147,570 km², Bangladesh's population is over 170 million, ranking 8th in the world in terms of population. With the pressure of overpopulation, what problems is this country facing? Let's find out right away. 1. Young country Bangladesh. A young but sensational and historically rich officially declared its independence on March 26, 1971. Before becoming an independent nation, the land that is now Bangladesh was part of British India. After India gained independence in 1947, the subcontinent was divided into two countries, India for Hindus and Pakistan for Muslims. Pakistan was divided into two parts, East Pakistan, today's Bangladesh, and West Pakistan, present-day Pakistan, although the two regions are more than 1,600 kilometers apart, with India in the middle. From the very beginning, the cultural, linguistic, and economic differences between East and West Pakistan led to deep dissents and political marginalization of East Pakistan, which comprised the majority of Pakistan's population. The struggle intensified with the Bengali language movement in 1952, further igniting nationalistic sentiments. After a brutal 9-month war that involved mass atrocities and millions of refugees fleeing to India, on December 16, 1971, Bangladesh officially gained independence, emerging as a sovereign nation born from immense sacrifice and resilience. 2. Mother and daughter share the same husband. There are many strange and bizarre customs in the world, but the custom of mother and daughter sharing a husband is really hard to believe. But in fact, this custom is still taking place in the Mandi tribe in Bangladesh. According to custom, when a widow wants to remarry, she must choose a man from the same family as her previous husband. Such single men are often very young. Therefore, the widow will have to let her daughter become the second bride in the wedding to take over the duties of her husband, including having sex when she grows up. Sharing her man with another person is not easy for all women, no matter who that person is. A young girl named Orola Dalbot said that her mother did not give up tricks on her own daughter to get close to her husband. Orola recalled that her mother had many times secretly put some herbs in her food to make her vomit so that Notan would be afraid of her, so that she would have more opportunities to sleep with her husband. It was the competition to monopolize the man that destroyed the mother-daughter relationship of the two poor women. According to the Mandi people's concept, having a mother and daughter share a husband will have many advantages. Because the widowed mother is old, and some are no longer able to give birth, the daughter must take on the role of maintaining the family line for the man who marries the widow. Besides, having a mother and daughter share a husband allows them to shoulder and share all the work in the house. The mother will be the one who holds the power, running all the big and small jobs in the family, while the daughter will replace her mother to protect the property and take over the power when she passes away. The Mandi people only see the immediate benefits and do not realize the strangeness of this custom. It is already unacceptable for both mother and daughter to have relationships with the same man. Then what will be their status, or how they will address their children if they are born to the same man? That is a question that many people ask, but the answer is still not really convincing. The Mandi people believe that children are a gift from God, so no matter whose children they are, living in the same family, of course they will love each other. 3. Billion-dollar garment industry. The Bangladeshi garment industry, which is the country's largest economic pillar, is also the world's second-largest garment manufacturing center, with an export value of more than 45 billion USD per year, equivalent to more than 80% of total export turnover. The textile sector has become a critical part of Bangladesh's economic growth and global trade relations. However, behind the halo of this industry is a shocking dark side. With more than 4 million workers, 80% of whom are women from rural areas, many work in dangerous conditions for wages of just $75 to $100 a month. far below the living wage. One of the most serious tragedies was the 2013 Rana Plaza building collapse, which killed more than 1,100 people and injured thousands, sparking global concerns about worker safety in Bangladesh. Despite efforts to improve, including the construction of more than 180 green certified factories and the adoption of advanced technology, the industry still faces major challenges. In addition, Bangladesh's infrastructure struggles to keep pace with the demands of a booming garment sector, and worker rights organizations continue to push for better wages and safer working conditions. Climate change, pollution from factories that consume huge amounts of water and energy, and fierce competition from countries such as Vietnam and China are weighing on the Bangladeshi garment industry. Almost entirely dependent on foreign markets, especially the US and Europe, the industry is vulnerable to changes in international demand. This is a complex picture, full of paradoxes between economic growth and the social and environmental consequences it brings. The country's textiles are receiving a lot of orders, especially after COVID-19 brought hope of growth and improved people's lives. But now customers are looking to withdraw and move elsewhere because of the riots in the country. The student protest movement that took place in July 2024 forced Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to resign after 15 years in power. She is the eldest daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Garment factories closed, leaving at least a quarter of the workforce unemployed and still not fully recovered. 4. Legal prostitution. In Bangladesh, prostitution is considered one of the cheapest forms in the world. To satisfy physiological needs, especially in large brothel areas such as Daulat Ladia and Taga, which are located in the southwestern region of the country. These are famous areas where brothels with legal prostitution services under the country's law are located. Bangladesh, despite being a predominantly Muslim country, has a complex relationship with prostitution, with these areas remaining legally tolerated. Here the customers are mainly Bangladeshi men, who are often looking for women with plump, fat bodies. Therefore, the girls in this profession must use Oradexon, a growth stimulant for livestock, to gain weight and have a plump body. This work begins when the girls are very young, usually between the ages of 12 and 14. When they enter the profession, they lose all freedom, working for the madams until the debt is paid. However, after leaving the brothel, they cannot find another job and have to return to the old profession, being discriminated against and shunned by society. For each customer, each girl earns about 0.6 USD. On average, a girl working in the prostitution industry has to serve about 20 customers a day, earning from 1,000 to 2,000 taka, equivalent to about 8 to 16 USD per day. However, this income is not enough to pay off the debts to the madams, and the debt continues to grow. Meanwhile, these brothels often have guards armed with only wooden sticks, and every day, during lunch breaks, the brothels are crowded with customers. The girls working here have to endure a dark life. Their health is exhausted because of using Oradexon despite knowing that this drug can cause serious problems such as obesity, kidney failure, osteoporosis, and even death if used for a long time. However, this drug is very cheap and can be easily purchased at pharmacies without a doctor's prescription. A special story is that of Hamida Begum, who became the first prostitute in Daulat to have an official funeral in 2020. This is extremely special because for decades prostitutes were often abandoned, and when they died, their bodies were often thrown into the river or buried in mud. However, at Hamida's funeral, more than 200 people attended the funeral, while more than 400 people came to the banquet and prayers. It was a historic moment, breaking a long-standing taboo when society began to re-evaluate the value of those in the sex industry. The sex industry in Bangladesh, with its dark side and tragic story, continues to exist, associated with social paradoxes and unseen consequences. Thousands of young girls are still living in a vicious cycle of debt, abuse, and discrimination, with no idea when they will be able to escape. Forms like Daulat Ladia and Taga remain symbols of a dark part of Bangladeshi society, where these women and children become victims of a system they have no choice in. Number 5. The cheapest hostel in the world. Do you believe that in Bangladesh, for only about 0.35 USDs, equivalent to 31 taka, you can rent a hotel for one night? This is a surprisingly cheap price, but it also hides the dark side of the living conditions of poor workers. Bangladesh, with a population of more than 100 million people, is among the top 8 most populous countries in the world, where living conditions are very difficult, especially in the capital Dhaka, which is known for its extreme overcrowding and pollution. The world's cheapest famous hotel is located on old boats, converted from unused boats. These boats have been combined into a floating hostel on the water, but the corridors and rooms are very damp, with a foul smell coming from the waste. This is where dozens of people have to live together in cramped rooms. A room can accommodate 17 people, but does not have enough necessary furniture such as mattresses, beds. People here have to sleep on the bed, cramped and lacking. In fact, the people who live in this hotel are mainly poor laborers and local traders who choose this place because of its proximity to Sagas Market and shopping areas. However, this hotel is not a long-term choice. Most people who stay here only stay for about 3 months and then move out because the living conditions are unbearable. This hotel, although it has been in operation for more than 60 years, still lacks facilities. The most expensive room is only about 5 USD, equivalent to 25,000 taka, but there are no modern amenities, only a private cabin and no real privacy. Although the price is cheap, here, you will have to face harsh living conditions and a severe lack of facilities. That is the price that the poor have to pay to survive in a society full of injustice and poverty. Places like this are not just hotels, but symbols of poverty, where human life and health are taken for granted. In Bangladesh, this extreme poverty is a daily reality for many, with millions living in slums or makeshift shelters, struggling to survive amidst the stark inequalities of the country. 6. Child marriage and child labor. Bangladesh has one of the highest rates of child marriage in the world, with about 51% of girls married before the age of 18. Although the law sets a minimum age of 18 for marriage, child marriage is common in rural areas due to economic pressures, traditional beliefs, and lack of awareness. In addition, many rural families are deeply influenced by long-standing social customs and the belief that early marriage ensures safety for their daughters. Girls who are forced into early marriage often drop out of school, miss out on opportunities to develop themselves, and become mothers when their bodies are not ready. Girls who marry early are more likely to suffer pregnancy complications and even die during childbirth. Despite awareness campaigns, the reality in rural areas is still a different story. In cities like Dhaka, there is a growing movement to educate and empower women, but it has yet to fully reach remote regions of Bangladesh. Poor families, lacking knowledge and resources, often prioritize marrying off their children early to reduce worries. According to estimates, there are more than 4 million children in Bangladesh working in various industries. Many children are only 8 to 10 years old when they have to leave school to earn money to support their families. The garment industry, a major source of revenue for Bangladesh, employs many young children in unsafe conditions. They often work in unsafe factories, are prone to work accidents, or suffer from chronic diseases. With low wages of only about 1.5 USD and working hours of 10 to 12 hours a day, they are exhausted both physically and mentally. 7. Floating schools. In Bangladesh, where there are many challenges in infrastructure and education, some communities have created special ways to bring learning opportunities to children, even in the most difficult circumstances. One unique form is the boat school, where students can study while traveling across the major rivers of Bangladesh, especially in the Bazar, Khulna, and Chittagong regions. As Bangladesh has many rural areas that are flooded or have no roads, boats have become the main means of transportation for people. The boat school was created to help children in remote fishing villages and riverside areas not be left behind in the country's education revolution. Teachers and students board the boat every morning, anchor in the middle of the major rivers, and classes begin right on this mobile boat. This initiative is a response to the geographical challenges and aims to bring quality education to children who would otherwise be excluded. These boats are often converted to accommodate simple tables, chairs, and a blackboard. However, the learning conditions on the boat are not ideal. The space is cramped, and harsh weather conditions such as heavy rain, strong winds, or flood season can disrupt the learning process. Despite this, teachers and students still persevere to go to school every day because they understand that education is the only way to change their fate. Bangladesh, being a country prone to flooding and natural disasters, faces unique difficulties in ensuring access to education for all children. The boat classes usually have 30 to 40 students. Students not only learn culture, but also life skills, such as fishing, farming, and how to live in harmony with nature. Lessons on environmental protection and sustainable livelihoods are also important for the children here, as they will help them survive and develop in the riverside community. These lessons are vital in Bangladesh, a country that heavily depends on agriculture and the natural environment for its economy. During the flood season, teaching and learning can even be interrupted for weeks because the boats cannot move or the areas where students live are deeply submerged. However, the boat school is still a great model of perseverance and hope. 8. Traffic chaos. Traffic in Bangladesh is extremely congested, especially in the capital Dhaka, home to 20 million people with limited and inadequate infrastructure. Every day, millions of people travel through the city on narrow, undivided roads. The lack of proper traffic lights and unclear signs makes traffic even more chaotic and difficult to control. In addition, the population density in Dhaka is one of the highest in the world, making traffic even more challenging to navigate. Traffic law enforcement is also a major problem, as many road users do not follow the rules, leading to accidents and risks for pedestrians and other vehicles. Most drainage systems are ineffective, making heavy rains even worse. Here you will also see buses that are more than 20 years old with broken seats, scratches all over the body, no air conditioning, no headlights and window glass, and black exhaust pipes. With such a large population, the railway system in Bangladesh is also overloaded. People even evade tickets because there are no more tickets to buy. They risk their lives, trying to climb on the roof of the train or cling to the sides of the train. The image of trains carrying 5 or 6 times the number of people allowed is nothing new in this country. Number 9. Spicy cuisine. For tourists who are not used to spicy food, trying food in Bangladesh can be a challenge. Many people even feel their throats burning from the first bite. People here not only love spicy food, but also consider it a unique cultural feature of theirs. Almost every traditional dish, from curry, mixed rice, to snacks, has the presence of chili, an indispensable ingredient in any family's kitchen. Bangladesh's food culture is heavily influenced by the Bengali traditions, with a deep-rooted love for bold flavors. The cuisine reflects the country's rich agricultural heritage, with an abundance of rice, fish, and spices, often accompanied by fresh vegetables and tropical fruits. Chili is not only a spice, but also considered a natural remedy in Bangladeshi culinary culture. The capsaicin in chili helps stimulate blood circulation, improve digestion, and cool the body by stimulating sweat glands. For Bangladeshis, eating spicy food is not only a hobby, but also a way to maintain health in hot and humid climates. In addition, chili is also considered a spice that helps preserve food in high-temperature environments, especially in traditional dishes such as hilsa fish curry, biryani, or dal, lentil stew. Naga moric is a famous chili in Bangladesh and Southeast Asia, often referred to as the king of spicy. This is a natural variation of the Bhut Jolokia chili, known for its spiciness level measured on the Scoville scale of up to 1 million sheshu. This makes Naga moric not a choice for the faint-hearted. This type of chili is small in size, bright red or orange when ripe, and has a wrinkled outer skin. Although it is spicy enough to burn the tongue, Naga moric has a special aroma, increasing the attractiveness of the dish. It is often crushed, used in curries, biryani, and dipping sauces to bring a unique flavor that cannot be confused. 10. The longest beach in the world. Did you know that the longest coastline in the world is not located in a country famous for beach tourism, such as Maldives or Australia, but belongs to Bangladesh? That is Cox's Bazar Beach, a strip of golden sand stretching over 120 kilometers along the Indian Ocean. What is special is that this beach has a continuous length, not divided by rivers or bays. This is not only the pride of the people of Bangladesh, but also an impressive natural wonder. Cox's Bazar, located in the southeastern part of the country, is a top tourist destination and has been attracting visitors from all over the world. Tourism in Cox's Bazar is booming with a range of hotels, resorts, and recreational activities such as surfing, kayaking, and paragliding. However, the place still retains its wild and idyllic beauty, completely different from the crowded beaches in other countries. The beach is surrounded by hills, tropical forests, and fishing villages, making it an ideal spot for nature lovers and adventure seekers. 11. Things to avoid in Bangladesh. When traveling in Bangladesh, there are a few things you should keep in mind to respect the local culture. First, you should not touch other people, especially women, as this is considered disrespectful in Bangladesh's conservative society. Additionally, drinking alcohol in public is not encouraged, especially in public areas or near temples. You should also avoid eating beef, as it is not consumed by most Bangladeshis, especially Muslims. Another thing is that you should not show affection in public, such as hugging and kissing, as this can be offensive and is not appropriate for Bangladesh's Muslim culture. Finally, politics in Bangladesh can be very sensitive, and discussing political issues can lead to conflict or tension. Avoid engaging in controversial discussions, especially if you are not familiar with the specific issues of the country. And that's a wrap for today's journey through the vibrant stories of Bangladesh. From the longest beach in the world to the untold struggles behind the booming garment industry, this country is a tapestry of beauty, challenges, and triumphs. What did you find most fascinating about today's exploration? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves discovering new stories.